made it to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession. This week's episode is brought to you by Clothes for Chiro, Dr. Barbara Eaton's 56-day chiropractic bootcamp, MoveWell University, the Black Diamond Club, Legacy Wealth Management, Posture Screen, Dr. Alok Trivedi, Universal Traction Systems, Vantage Point Marketing, Element Mattresses, Imaging Services, Zinget Solutions, Chiro Thin, Dr. Peter Goldman's Zone School of Healing, and Everest Chiropractic Bootcamp. Let's hustle.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 70 of Chiro Hustle. I'm your co-host, Luke Millette. Here's your host, Jim Chester.
So today we had the opportunity to interview Hailey Jules, and her business is Inspired Practice Solutions. So if you want to learn how to train your staff better from CA to doctor, listen to this episode. So Hailey, tell us about your chiropractic story and what influenced you to be involved with the chiropractic profession.
Yes, that is a great question. So I feel like my chiropractic story is like a skyscraper that's I'm continually layering onto it. So I know that you may have heard, and many of your viewers may have heard, the beginning of my story with my mom's health journey and seeking something that would actually bring answers. And I had the opportunity to work in a practice as well. And that was the next layer of my chiropractic story. But I think may I share with you the part of my story that really inspired me to open a business and impact on a global scale?
Yeah, because, the next question I was going to ask you is what makes you unique in the chiropractic world?
Oh, wonderful. Well, to answer the first question, perhaps a bit of the second question as well, I'd actually like to share with you this story I've never shared with anybody before, anybody live. And it happened when I was actually coaching some chiropractors and their teams at an event. And we had this young woman in the front row off to the corner, and she came in and she had, dark goth makeup, a very dim exterior, and her hair was even greasy. It looked as if she hadn't showered, and she just sat in the corner and really looked down for most of the training. She wasn't engaging or interacting. And then we had an opportunity to have some people come up and role play and participate in the activity that we were doing. And she actually came up to the front. And she looked me in the eyes, and I saw just this look of hopelessness in her eyes. And it was in that moment she looked at me and she said, and we're on this stage in front of everybody watching, and she said, I don't understand what this means, this being before doing, and I don't understand. And I could tell that this was a question that was going to take some further discovery to answer. And so I asked her, because at the time we were actually just role playing a new patient phone call of all things. So I asked her if she could stick around at the end and we could chat a little bit. And again, this is what the beginning of my journey, where I was very structured, very system oriented, following all the steps and the procedures. And then I met with her after. She waited. I had tons of people come up and visit with me and ask questions, and she waited in the corner until the room was completely cleared out. And I went up to her and sat next to her, and I asked her, what was going on. And I'll never forget the impact of this moment, because she looked at me and she said, before I came to this weekend, she said, I had decided that this was it for me. And I looked at her and I said, what was it? Thinking perhaps, she was a team member at a chiropractic office, thinking perhaps that she was going to quit her job. And she said, I decided this was it. I don't want to live. And, I truly, truly believe her, and I believed her in that moment, that she was speaking from her heart in that moment. And she looked at me and she said, I watch you interact, and I watch how you're happy, and it's real. It's coming from who you are, this being. And I want to learn how to do that. And she said, for the first time in a long time, I feel like that's possible. Like I feel like I can. And we had an amazing journey together after that, going through some things. And the next day she arrived, she completely looked different. She was lit up and full of life. And her exterior was clean. She physically looked different. She carried a different presence with her. Her shoulders were back. She was more confident. And I've had the opportunity to check up with her ever since, and she's made some really powerful life changes. And it was then that I really realized the true impact of what we do in chiropractic. I think both in the office and then those of us that are chiropractic advocates spreading the word, we spend so much of our lives focused on, the system, saying the right thing and doing the right thing to help as many people as possible. And it was then that I realized our very presence, our very essence of truly being there for another human soul, I believe is the most powerful and impactful gift that you can give to someone, that not only is changing lives, but also saving lives on so many levels. And that's when, I always say that my mission began, with CA transformation, and it's transformed into the breakthroughs of humanity. Because I realized that the people in chiropractic are the people that I have so much respect for, probably the most respect for, are chiropractors and their teams. And for me to have that experience and seeing someone working in a chiropractic office, a place of life, a place where we thrive and become whole and bring life force into people's bodies, yet she wasn't thriving herself. Yes, she was well adjusted, she was under care, but she wasn't thriving in her life. And that's really, I truly believe, where my chiropractic story had a rebirth, and where I really learned to dedicate my life to bringing this freedom to people, the freedom of being complete and being whole ourselves as we serve others, so that instead of feeling drained, we're fueling up. And I know you and I, before going live, we were just talking about that, serving in the chiropractic world, and we're, constantly on the go, constantly pouring out. And so what I've really discovered is just having that time with these team members, with chiropractors, to really bring them back into their presence and remind them of who they are and the impact that they make, is one of the most powerful gifts that I can give. And the numbers follow. When you have a team, when you have a doctor, a team, a community that is really on point and thriving themselves, you living the message is the biggest impact that we can make on humanity. And that's when people want to be part of the practice. That's when people want to come in and are drawn in and are asking or applying to be a patient at the office. So it's really been a phenomenal shift. That was such a shift, and that's when I knew, okay, I want to impact on a global scale. I want to be able to open a business where I go into offices and help these teams completely transform and take their lives to the next level, regardless of whatever level they're at, so that they can take the practice to the next level.
Wow, there's so much depth to what you just shared with us, and the personal story impact is quite inspiring to know that anybody's going through any type of rough patch in their life, that if they're vulnerable enough to try, they can achieve, and they can transcend from the way that they're thinking and move into a better course of life, which is something that we don't get a lot of chance to talk about on our podcast. So it's quite inspiring to hear somebody actually transcending from a point of ground zero to back to becoming a responsive person, which is pretty cool.
Absolutely. And I truly believe when we experience that transcendence as individuals, then you can do anything. You can do anything from that point. I mean, how to have the perfect staff meeting, or how to have the new patient. Do you do a workshop or don't you do a workshop? What ROF should I follow? All of these things. When you're coming from a higher level of consciousness, you are going to be powerful. You are going to impact on an incredible level. And I know that there are so many wonderful systems out there to support. Yes, systems are important. We've got to have great systems in place as well. But to enjoy the systems where you're not just going through the motions, and to really impact on a larger scale, we've got to be living it ourselves.
Yeah, and so I know a lot of people probably know of you, Hailey, but how long have you been out there working in the chiropractic space and developing peak performance coaching program, and also following that up with the inspired practice solutions?
Yes, absolutely. So I started my company just a little bit over two years ago. And then before that, I had the phenomenal opportunity of working in Dr. Nona Javid in Newport Beach in her practice, and then getting the opportunity to come in and teach and coach and inspire with elite coaching as well. We were actually part of elite coaching as a practice, and I would go to the seminars and go to events there, and loved it and became even more obsessed with chiropractic. So my overall chiropractic journey from the first time I was adjusted has been probably about 15 years now.
Yeah, it's awesome to hear. It's awesome to hear people's journeys. And for what I know who you are, there's people out there that are in our audience that might not know who you are. So it's cool to hear where you got your fundamentals from. And I think I remember you saying also you worked in an office?
I did, yes. I had the opportunity to really work in an office and have that experience with patients and watch patients' lives change every single day, and see the true power of chiropractic.
So did that spark you into the position to want to train the CAs and the staff?
It did. That was absolutely part of it, for sure. I think what sparked me even more was the desire and really the drive to get this message out to the world. It really broke my heart that more people didn't know about this. When I saw the results we were getting in practice, I saw people's lives change. I saw autistic kids that had never spoken speak. I saw people on medication get off medication. I saw people that have been told, were scheduled to get their thyroid removed, no longer need to get it removed. All these incredible things we see in chiropractic. Seeing those things, I felt like I had found the fountain of youth and the secret and the answer to physical health. And that was really, really what inspired me to work with the teams the most. And I saw a need there.
So do you have any favorite mantras or inspirational quotes that help you with your commitment as a trainer and a speaker?
I do. Yeah, I'm thinking of what are the things that I constantly say in my head over and over again, and I consider those to be my mantras. One that I say often is make moments matter, or magnificent moments. And that's something that constantly brings me back into presence, is making moments matter, magnificent moments, making every moment matter. Another one a question that I always ask as a little bit of a mantra is, what's good here, or what's great about this moment? And those are two big ones for sure.
So what's possible in the future with everything you're accomplishing with your CA training program? Like, what if more doctors hired you to train their staff?
Yes, I believe what's possible is to impact humanity with this message, because my real focus in working with teams is helping the teams create chiropractic leaders within their patients, so that the patients are going out and inspiring and doing what you and I do, and impacting on a greater level. because we can't do this alone. We need the patients. We need more people spreading this message and spreading the power of chiropractic. So I believe that's what's possible. As far as my goal and vision is to be able to reach every chiropractic office that is ready to really take their practice and their lives to the next level.
So it sounds like you've done a lot of behind-the-scenes training, and you've done a lot of work to get yourself developed into the individual to actually inspire and to help people leverage their personalities into their own future. How did you get yourself what did you do to prepare yourself?
Absolutely. That's a great question. Well, I've always, as long as I can remember, I've always been obsessed with patterns since I was a little kid. Anything with a pattern on it, I was obsessed with. And then I started to notice patterns in humans. And most of the time I'd go over to play with my friends, I'd end up sitting next to their mom, asking them questions. What's the meaning of life? What's the meaning of love? How did you know that your husband was the one for you? How did you know you wanted kids? And I was always searching for these answers to life and why humans do what they do. And then I had the cool opportunity to take some phenomenal courses in psychology and anthropology, and I really loved that. And then I found life coaching and neurolinguistics programming and found a great fit there as well. And honestly, growth is my obsession. So yes, I've done many things and I will continue to do many things. One of my core values is to attend a minimum of 3 immersions a year, because that is the nature of what I do, is I provide immersion experiences for people. So I attend every year myself and stay sharp and make sure that I'm on the cutting edge of what's possible in the immersion world.
You've made it to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession. This week's episode is brought to you by Clothes for Chiro, Dr. Barbara Eaton's 56-day chiropractic bootcamp, MoveWell University, the Black Diamond Club, Legacy Wealth Management, Posture Screen, Dr. Alok Trivedi, Universal Traction Systems, Vantage Point Marketing, Element Mattresses, Imaging Services, Zingit Solutions, Chiro Thin, Dr. Peter Goldman's Zone School of Healing, and Everest Chiropractic Bootcamp. Let's hustle.
So, what do you think is the most important thing to happen to the profession in the last 10 years?
In the last 10 years or the next 10 years?
The last 10 years.
Oh, what's the most important thing that has happened?
Mm-hmm.
That's a good question. Whew. That's a tough question to answer. There's been a lot of really impactful things that have happened. To answer with a blanket statement, I think one of the most important things that's happened is raised awareness.
Yeah, we kind of threw a curveball at you because we oftentimes go off script just to kind of get the temperature of what somebody thinks will have been something that's been, professionally innovative, something that has really changed the momentum of how people are communicating differently, how teams are building differently. And we thought that would be a good question for you based on you deal with a lot of people that are looking for the edge in the next level.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that what I've seen, to be completely honest, I haven't been in the chiropractic world fully immersed for 10 years. I believe it's been about 8. So, but what I've seen is a lot of remembrance and really returning back to the core of chiropractic. I think that we got distracted for a while and distracted from the power of what chiropractic is, the power of the adjustments. We got distracted with all these other goodies and things to add in. And that is something I see making a huge impact, is people really returning back to the core truth of what they do and why they do what they do.
Another really popular answer is Facebook.
Facebook.
That's typically what most people say.
Yep, that's that raised awareness.
Yeah, a lot of people say social media has been the most important thing to happen in chiropractic over the past 10 years. Just because, it brings people that might have at one time felt lost and alone and living on their own island. Now people are more connected. Even if it might be over connection, they still have the ability to connect.
Yes, absolutely.
So with the way everything's going right now, where do you see the profession to be in the next 20 years?
In the next 20 years? That's a great question, too. What's the profession in the next 20 years? I think that we underestimate what we can do in 20 years. And I hear oftentimes when I'm at chiropractic events, people quoting what percentage of humans are under chiropractic care, and it's these teeny little numbers. And, I think we tend to bash the impact that we've made thus far. However, with the resources that we have now, bringing incredible coaches into the practice, social media, the impact that you're making with video, all the resources we have now, in 20 years, I think we can do a lot more than most people believe is possible. I do think in 20 years that chiropractic can be a household name. I believe it can be something that everybody understands and wants, and I believe it can be a normal thing to be under chiropractic care, a normal thing for the average human.
Yeah, I think that'd be pretty amazing to see that happen sooner than later.
Yes.
So what are some of your favorite key marketing strategies? And do you have a favorite social media platform?
Yes. This is an area I could probably really improve on. So far, my favorite marketing strategy is really been word of mouth, and I've been really blessed in that way. I've never done any formal marketing, and so I've been really blessed to be a referral-based business and had people share their stories and share the impact and the improvement and the higher volume that they've achieved through my coaching. So I do have Facebook and Instagram, and I use those platforms as well. I'm open to your advice. I would say you're the experts of that. If there's, I'd love to actually ask you that question. What would you recommend?
Well, we're finally starting to run our Chiro Hustle digital advertising agency, so we're really starting to dive into Facebook and Instagram ads. And
Wonderful.
YouTube ads aren't too far off into the future for us either.
Yes. Oh, I do have a YouTube channel. You reminded me of that.
Nice.
And for me, Hailey, I think that consistency will always win. And one of the things that I've talked to you about offline was, being social on social and not letting people feel like you left them hanging, and developing, a key strategy for the entire year. And honestly, podcasting is one of those. A lot of times people are challenged with podcasting because they can create the content, they just don't know how to market it. And, I think that one of the things that people have to really pay attention to when they do think about key marketing strategies, they have to think about what are they doing on a consistent basis, and how can they actually take what they're doing and market it. And you are right. You are blessed to have a referral-based system, but there's a lot of people out there that don't know how to get the edge, and they don't know how to create the big three, the know, like, and trust in the marketplace. And that was something that came to you because you worked with stellar people, and they found out what you were doing, and it was easy to refer you.
I agree.
So when it comes to teaching people the right ways, and like I was suggesting to you, off of line again, is so many people, they struggle with identity, and they struggle with chasing too many things. And that's why I like that you've focused yourself down, hyper focused into training and coaching, and focusing on a couple of key things that you can help people with and become an expert in it.
Absolutely. And I think that that's really important to know what you're good at, know what you love, and do that. That's something I work with a lot of my doctors on, is identifying each team member's unique skill and unique value and what they enjoy doing. Where do they thrive? And oftentimes we'll even move people around. You know, we have someone at the front that's the front desk that might be way better at re-exams or rehab or something else in the office, or social media marketing, you know, and we'll move them around, and when they're in the right position, they thrive on a whole new level.
So what would you say is the best piece of advice you could give doctors and their CAs?
The best piece of advice. Ooh. I have so many answers to this question. So the best piece, if I had to pick one, it would be to increase your rituals and decrease your rules about your rituals. So what I found in chiropractic, a lot of times, one, we've got to really be conscious and aware of what our rituals are, because we all have them, whether it's working out or watching TV, we all have rituals that we live by. So becoming aware of what those are and increasing some healthy rituals that are going to really support you as a team, rituals as a team, things you can do together to prepare to serve at the level that you do. And the reason why I say decrease the rules about the rituals, that's a lesson that I'm currently learning in my life right now, is, you know, so often we give ourselves so many rules for our rituals or how things are supposed to be. And so many rules, for instance, on how to live a healthy life, or what a successful chiropractic practice is supposed to be like. You know, we'll have dozens and dozens of rules of what a successful practice is supposed to look like, robbing ourselves of the current experience of the lives that are being changed right now in practice. And so I think that it's really important to really discover the rules that you have about your rituals and have less rules. I had a very wise mentor, Tony Robbins, once share at an event that I was at of his. He shared that he said happy people have very few rules for being happy, and depressed people have lists and lists of rules for being happy.
That's pretty profound.
Yes.
So what's one of your rules for being happy?
One of my rules for being, I don't know that I have any. Probably the only real rule I have for being happy is that it's always available.
Nice.
Happiness is always available to me, yes.
So let's step away from work and chiropractic and teaching for a moment, and let's just talk about Hailey.
Okay.
What kind of things do you like to listen to and read in your downtime? What do you do for fun?
Yes. Oh, two separate questions. Listen to and read. I am really obsessed with both of those things. I love constantly feeding my mind. Lately, I've been really getting into reading books about people that provide transformational experiences. So right now I'm reading a book called Breaking Normal by Daniel, I can't remember his last name, Eisman, I believe. I just finished You Are the One with Cute Blackson, who I actually discovered he was not a chiropractor, but speaking at Chiro Sushi, and he gave out his book, and that one was really powerful as well. And as far as what I love to do in downtime, I mean, when I'm home, I live right on the river, so I love hiking and swimming with my dog Bruxy and exploring and really anything outside. And that's something I make a point to do in busy travel. Even if I'm in the middle of the city and there's only a little patch of grass, that's the patch of grass that I'll sit on and enjoy.
That's awesome. So give us some resources if people wanted to learn more about you or to contact you. Where are some websites they can go to?
Yes, my website is inspiredpracticesolutions.com. And then on Instagram, I'm chiropractic.assistant.coach. And then they can also find me on Facebook, Hailey Jules or Inspired Practice Solutions, and YouTube as well.
And at this juncture in the interview, I know that people are going to be interested in knowing more about you, but is there anything that we didn't ask you that you'd like to share with our audience today?
No, I think you were very thorough. I would love to meet your audience. Reach out with questions, and it would really be an honor to see if there's a way that I can help support you in your journey.
Awesome. Yeah, this was a really great episode, and I'm glad we got the internet to cooperate.
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, we don't really have anything else, so thanks again, and I hope you have an awesome rest of your day, okay?
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
It's our pleasure.
It's been an honor. Thank you.
All right, have a great day, Hailey. Thanks for being on with us.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Chiro Hustle. Don't forget to subscribe and check back next week to continue hustling.